Good Thursday morning. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John. Kaiser's here on the sofa with us. Take a look, and we'll see where he goes from here, probably directly to sleep. But anyway, we're coming to you today to talk to you about a few things that have taken place. Like number one is that the Trump steamroller continues, and he is going to push forward all of the promises made on the campaign trail as rapidly as possible. But what's going on in the Senate, on the other hand, is another stumbling block in the fact that they keep pushing away the time that they need to get people confirmed that he has to have on board. The personnel to make things happen is being held up again by Schumer and his buds over there in the Senate, who do not want these confirmations to happen too rapidly because they haven't dug up enough dirt on these people yet to have their little hearings and grandstand. This will continue as long as Chuck Schumer has anything to say or do in that Senate, and you people in New York that will be voting again for him when he comes up for re-election need to remember this. I know you all have short memories, but let's put this in the back of your mind and make it a top priority to get Chuck Schumer retired and back to his enclave in New York where he can do no more harm. Speaking of doing harm, you would think that if you went to a church, especially an Episcopalian church, you wouldn't expect to have a lecture on politics that took place at St. John's with the president sitting right in front of this bishop who decided to grandstand and get herself onto The View and CNN and MSNBC so she could have her little say about what she believes is the right way to run a government. Well, it was no place for that, and had she been a true clergy, she would have used that opportunity to school people sitting there on what the Bible has to say and not rely on rhetoric that comes from the left side of the news media that she obviously follows, and put that out in front of the face of the new cabinet sitting there and the new president himself. And yes, he did react to it, and he reacted to it in what I believe was a proper fashion. And then she shows up the next day on all these shows that are so deeply in the toilet in ratings that she has to have her spot in the limelight. And how she made bishop in the Episcopalian Church is beyond any understanding that I may have. And I'm sure that a lot of you are wondering what has happened. But it has come out recently that her following in that particular diocese has dropped by 20-some%. And this is probably a good reason why that's happened. There is no room for politics inside your houses of worship where you go to talk to God and to hear the gospel broken down for every individual sitting in that seat for salvation of a soul, not salvation of a political ideology that she decided to pontificate on, which I believe was dead wrong. So my message to the Episcopalian upper management, put a stop to that if you don't want to lose more people in the pews. That's plain and simple. That should never have happened. It should never have been done. And then you look at a person that should have been using that opportunity to spread the love of God, the love of Jesus Christ to that entire gathering there. And it was a missed opportunity on her part. So we have that going for us now too. That, not to mention that the CNN and some other networks are having a little moment of losing viewership, and they have their hair on fire one more time, trying to run down the President of the United States after they have spent 4 years of protecting a man that was mentally ill and suffering from dementia, and completely covered that up and kissed the ring of Joe Biden for 4 years, and then back Kamala Harris, and now they have the audacity and the gall to go against a population of people that have spoken to their government about the changes that they wanted to see. And they voted in a landslide to put in Donald J. Trump. So stop and give this man a break and let him do the job that he's promised to do, has been elected to do, and has been given a mandate to make sure happens for the rest of his term. And so far, I'm liking what I see. Most of America is liking what they see. So CNN, MSNBC, and the like, get over it, pull up your big boy pants, and act right, and maybe your viewership will come back online. So take a look at this.
Fake, disgusting news.
I'm asking you a question. Is President Trump responsible? Is he responsible if some of these offenders reoffend? What happens if one of the Oath Keepers of the Proud Boys goes out there and hurts somebody? And they were involved on January 6th and were put in prison, and Donald Trump released them. Isn't he then responsible for that? Isn't he responsible if somebody gets hurt?
I would say if they're Trump-appointed judges, they will go to jail. But if they're Joe Biden-appointed judges or Soros-backed DAs, they'll probably walk, as they do in New York and the rest of the country. As we saw during the Black Lives Matter marches, we saw in the riots all across the country, those people walked. Nobody went to jail for that. Millions upon millions of dollars of property was damaged. You all didn't raise a finger, didn't say one word about it.
Congressman,
you
that's
showed
just
it
not
and said,
true.
"Oh, it's all in."
Persistent and poisonous inequities and injustice. And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
In order. You showed we had riots where towns were burning down, and they were allowed to do it. They were allowed to do it, and you all did not. You covered it, Jim. Come on, Jim.
All day
you gave
long.
it the bare modicum of coverage, and then you went on to trashing Trump or some conservative cause.
I was at the White House covering the first Trump administration when they had rioting outside of the White House. I mean, that was covered on CNN. What you're saying, this is not Fox, Congressman. You can't just spin a tail and pull the wool over people's eyes.
Yeah.
This is CNN. This is the news. We are asking you to come on and tell the truth.
And that's why more people are watching the Cartoon Network SpongeBob reruns right now, Jim. Look, I left the White House during a riot. My life was threatened. My life has been threatened within the last few weeks, yet there's no coverage of that. And you all continue this narrative of attacking Trump. You just can't stand the fact that he won and that America spoke.
Congressman,
and that your view is very diminished.
That's not the case at all.
And your view is very diminished.
You can't just spin a tail and pull the wool over people's eyes.
Yeah.
This is CNN. This is the news.
And that's why more people are watching the Cartoon Network SpongeBob reruns right now, Jim.
My God.
It's incredible what we see happening in the media and around the talking heads that are supposedly journalists and press people that cannot get over the fact that they were wrong and their choices that they made were wrong. And we have now a strong head of state that will bring us back to where we were at one time, that shining light on a hill. So we have all of that going for us, and then we have people that have to be humiliated on the air by the people that they're supposedly interviewing, and all they're doing is trying to drive a dead ideology back into the minds of American people. And we have spoken out about that. We don't want that anymore, and they don't get it. So the answer to that for you all is to do not tune in to these people like Morning Joe and CNN and the like, because they're not telling you the truth. They have been caught not telling you the truth for 4 years. And what makes you think now that they're just going to turn the coin over and start to be truthful and actually report real news to you and not shaded news for one side or another? It's ridiculous on what is taking place in this country with regard to media. Mainstream legacy media is committing suicide as we watch.
Future is ours.
It's going to be a massive amount of contrast here for a presidency like what we're going to see out of Trump and versus what we've had out of Biden. Your party just engaged in the biggest cover-up in modern American political history on Joe Biden. It's all coming out. We all now know that every Democrat knew it, and you and everybody else came on TV and lied about this man's condition. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Well, the Biden cover-up is the worst thing we've seen in this country in your or my lifetime.
First of all,
in political misinformation.
That is hyperbolic.
And it's not.
It's not only hyperbolic, but it's actually incorrect.
And that includes, in some cases, Fox. I see they're moving their people around in different time slots. Cavuto is gone. We know that Cavuto was not a fan of Donald Trump. He made that very clear all along. I hope and wish him well wherever he ends up talking or reporting something. I'm hoping that he is not ill, and that's the reason he stepped down. It's been not talked about on that network, and it would be interesting to see what the true story behind Neil Cavuto leaving his slot at Fox it was all about. We know that there's changes coming about. There's a new show that took his time slot that I believe isn't going to make it. I don't think it was very good. I think that they're trying to make a name for this person that used to be a weekend talking head, is now down in, I think, Austin, Texas, trying to send his show in on a daily basis. I don't believe that he has the wherewithal to make it through and get the ratings that somebody else like a Cavuto had. But we'll see. I've never been a fan of Neil Cavuto, but I wish him well. And I'm glad that they moved some things around, but I think they have better talent for that time slot than what they did put in. But that's just, again, my opinion on what's going on over at Fox. It looks like Tom Holman is already at work, whether approved by our stubborn Senate or not. They have made a lot of arrests in the last couple of days, and I'm hoping that continues And I'm hoping that they go after the criminal element first. And all the weeping and crying about people being pulled from their homes and their schools and their churches, that won't be a correct thing to do. This is all about protecting their legacy of the last 4 years. The people that they're going to deport are people who entered this country against our laws and against our wishes, and were let in, and in some cases did a lot of harm. So we want to get these people, especially the gang members, rounded up and put back to the country of origin as promised. Then we should look at the people who signed up for asylum and did not bother to show up for their court date, which we have a good list of, and get those people next. No one is looking to break up a home or take somebody out of a job or blah, blah, blah that you're going to get from Max Headroom over there at the legacy media, who could give a damn less about how many were let into this country. These people live in an ivory tower, make oodles of money to sit in a makeup chair and then make up stories to give to you that somebody else upstairs has written, and then lie and swear to it later. This is what you have in legacy media. This is why a platform, a social platform such as YouTube or Rumble or Truth Social, Reddit, I don't care who you're looking at, you're going for news and opinions from social media, because opinions coming from legacy media should not be opinions. They should be reporting the news as it happens and as it factually happens. And we don't need opinions from those people that are being overpaid and provided transportation. They're not touched by the immigration problem that we have because they live in a different realm of reality than you and I do. And that is clear and present right now. And we have learned after the last 4 years that they cannot be trusted. And in some cases, these platforms are giving out some mistruths and misleading information. This is why we here at the Kaiser Report spend an entire morning to sift through what is true and what is maybe questionable. And then we will not report on the questionable. We only tell you what we know to be true. If mainstream media would go back to just reporting the news as it is, they would be a lot better off. And they can have opinion shows, but they should be advertised as opinion shows. Like we do here, we have commentary, we have news, and then we have travel reports. And this is how the networks have lost their way through the mire of democratic meddling into what the news is that's been reported to you. And they've turned it into a propaganda machine that is not good for the public. It's Thursday. We're going into a weekend. And if you're planning any meals for this weekend and it involves beef, chicken, pork, or otherwise, you need to contact Lazy J Farms and Butcher Shop and have them cut your meat to order and get it to you. Whether you're local or across this country, they can get it out to you very quickly, flash frozen, and at your door the next day. So remember Lazy J Farms and Butcher Shop, and you can contact them at 423-398-5600. 5595. That's 423-398-5595. Ask for Butch the Butcher and tell them that Kaiser sent you, and they'll take very good care of you. And also, they can ship you farm fresh eggs and cheeses to boot. So give them a call today and get your weekend feast on the way to you now. So Thursday is coming to a weekend to look forward to. Donald Trump will be talking by media to the people at Davos today, and that will take place, I think, at 11 or 12 o'clock Eastern Time. So tune in to that. I believe that Fox will carry that live if you're interested in that. And it seems that Davos has gotten away a little from their climate change ladder that they've been on. And they're very optimistic about what's going to take place economically in the world due to the fact that we now have a very strong president in charge and with the wherewithal to make everybody a little bit happier and wealthier as the years of his administration grind on. So it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say to the Davos bunch. So tune in if you can for that. We'll be watching, and we'll probably have a little something for you tomorrow on that. And it's almost incredible how you have to literally humiliate a talking head on a network such as CNN to get your point across through their stubbornness and their inability to realize why they have the problems that they have with viewership. But anyway, we're walking out today. Kaiser and I are going to take a ride and try to find a new Amish store that was talked about, and we'll maybe take the camera with us, and if it's a real interesting trip today, we'll give you a little of that tomorrow. But I'm here to say to you today, we'd like to have, well, here, take a look at this before we sign off with you.
What made you decide to use that opportunity for this message, or didn't you have any apprehension about it?
My response, thank you, first of all, for allowing me to be with you today. My responsibility that morning, yesterday morning, was to reflect, to pray with the nation for unity. And as I was pondering what are the foundations of unity, I wanted to emphasize respecting the honor and dignity of every human being, basic honesty and humility. And then I also realized that that unity requires a certain degree of mercy and compassion and understanding. And so knowing that a lot of people, as I said, in our country right now are really scared, I wanted to take the opportunity in the context of that of service for unity to say we need to treat everyone with dignity. And we need to be merciful. I was trying to counter the narrative that is so divisive and polarizing, and in which real people are being harmed.
Okay.
Bishop, I was struck by your tone. You were so gentle. You were so respectful. You were very demure and very mindful. Mm-hmm. And you said all of this with Trump, J.D. Vance, and their families, including Melania, an immigrant, and Usha Vance, a child of immigrants, sitting there. Right. And their reactions were very visible for all of us to see. You could see their faces. Were you paying attention to how your message was received by them in that moment? And do you think it sunk in even a little bit?
I've been preaching for a long time, and I've long since given up trying to read people's body language as I'm preaching. Because I would be wrong most of the time. So I don't know. I was aware that obviously people were listening, but I couldn't allow myself in that moment to I just had to keep going, right? I had what I felt was on my heart to say, and I had to leave it to them, to all of us, to take from whatever my words were, to heart in whichever way they could, and leave, as they say, leave the rest to God.
Isn't it interesting how bad legacy media has gotten? Unbelievable. But as I was saying earlier, we're out of here. We're going on a little field trip today. We'll report that to you tomorrow. We wish you all a very happy rest of this Thursday. And remember, from Kaiser and I, stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for your commentary and news bits and visits around Appalachia. Bye-bye now. God bless.